Service. It's your garden Staudinger from Munich again. Today we're diving into a real hidden secret. Doctors rarely talk about it. The baking soda miracle for your health and your garden. Because this isn't about roses, tomatoes, or perennials. It's about a plain, white powder sitting quietly in almost every kitchen. And no, I don't mean sugar, the stuff we sprinkle over life's troubles. I don't mean flour either, the stuff that always ends up dusting the wrong corner of the kitchen. I'm talking about baking soda, or in chemistry class, sodium bicarbonate. Sounds boring? Think again. This little powder doesn't just keep your cucumbers crisp, it can also help your body. And all that for less than 50 cents a week. Sounds like a fairy tale. That's what doctors thought too, until the studies became so clear they couldn't be ignored anymore. So stick with me today as we uncover what baking soda can really do for your garden, your health, and your wallet. And before we jump in, hit subscribe, ring that bell, otherwise you'll miss the next garden magic trick. Part 1, Baking Soda in the Garden, the Invisible Helper. Let's start in the garden, otherwise people will say that Staudinger talks only about kitchen and medicine. Believe me, baking soda is just as much a hero out there as it is when you've got heartburn. Tomatoes and mildew? No problem. This powder acts like a little bodyguard against fungal diseases. It's almost like your tomatoes suddenly put up invisible umbrellas. The recipe is simple. 5 grams of baking soda mixed with 1 liter of water. For better stickiness, add 2 tablespoons of canola oil, de-stinking your compost. Sometimes the compost smells more like an old gym locker. Sprinkle baking soda on top, and suddenly it smells like forest soil again. The microbes keep partying. The neighbors breathe easier, improving watering water. Even your watering can loves baking soda. Add a pinch and the lime crust on your flower pots takes a holiday. Your houseplants will thank you, and you don't need vinegar essence anymore. More tricks against algae in your rain barrel. A bit of baking soda keeps the water fresh. In the chicken coop or rabbit hutch helps with smell and acidic urine. On your garden gloves after weeding neutralizes that green fingers smell. And here comes the kicker. If this little white powder can do so much for your garden, just imagine what it can do for you. Part 2, Baking Soda for Health, the underestimated superfood. Let's switch perspective, from your tomatoes to your tummy. Because baking soda isn't just a plant favorite, it's also an old home remedy making a comeback in medicine. Goodbye heartburn. Classic example, heartburn. Imagine your stomach is burning like you just lost a chili challenge against a Mexican wrestler. Half a teaspoon of baking soda in water, and boom, a few minutes later, calm. It neutralizes stomach acid. Simple, cheap, effective. But careful. If you overdo it, your stomach lining may trigger a rebound effect, producing even more acid to compensate. Too much can also cause nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, muscle weakness, or cramps, and it can interfere with medications. So short-term relief only. Chronic issues always need a doctor, a sports booster. The Sports University in Cologne discovered athletes who took baking soda had up to 17% more endurance. Why? It buffers lactic acid in the muscles. So instead of spending €40 on fancy booster powders, half a teaspoon of baking soda, and you'll run like lightning. Picture it. 2 marathon runners at the finish line. One took baking soda, smiling, the other didn't. Looks like he just climbed a mountain with a 30-kilogram backpack. Still, in high doses it can cause stomach cramps, burping, or diarrhea. Best taken with a carb-heavy meal or in special capsules. And here's another fun fact. Even the ancient Romans swore by baking soda as an all-purpose remedy. They didn't just use it for tummy troubles, they also cleaned wounds with it. Imagine that. A disinfectant from antiquity. And if you're out hiking and the sweat starts dripping, a tiny pinch of baking soda in your water bottle can actually neutralize the taste and act like a natural electrolyte drink. Sure, it's a bit salty. But hey, better than those overpriced powders from the drugstore. Cancer research, the controversial part. It gets more intense in oncology. Tumors create an acidic environment to trick the immune system. Baking soda neutralizes that acid. Studies in the US show, combined with chemotherapy, tumors become more vulnerable. Not a miracle cure, but a game changer that costs almost nothing. Autoimmune diseases and rheumatism. Even in autoimmune conditions, effects have been seen. A glass of baking soda water a day lowered inflammation markers in rheumatoid patients by up to 40%. But this is still early lab research. Self-medication for serious diseases like cancer or rheumatism is strictly warned against by experts. Diabetes and metabolism. Research has also found baking soda may improve insulin resistance. That means diabetics could need less medication. Bad news for pharma profits, but good news for you. Part 3. Baking soda and skin, beauty on the cheap. Now let's leave the stomach and move to the skin. Psoriasis, eczema, itching. A baking soda bath calms skin, balances pH and reduces inflammation. Cost 50 cents. Compare that to pharmacy creams, 40 euros a pack. Your skin is happy, your wallet laughs. Even fungal infections struggle in alkaline environments. So before grabbing expensive creams, check your pantry first. Oh, and here's a wild one. Baking soda as deodorant. Yep, just a light dusting under your arms, and you skip all those aluminum-loaded sprays. Not everyone's cup of tea, but for many, it's the ultimate minimalist hack. And if you've ever read the ingredient list on a drugstore deodorant, you know why. Part 4. A critical wink at society. And honestly, why don't we hear more about this? Because you can't make billions with baking soda. No patents, no monopolies, no glossy ads. A pharma executive once said, "We don't sell health, we sell hope at the highest price." And baking soda doesn't fit that business model. But you know what? The revolution starts in your kitchen, not in a pharma lab. One packet of baking soda costs less than a bread roll, and it can change your life. Information is power. You don't need every new miracle supplement. Sometimes all it takes is a staple the ancient Egyptians already knew. Part 5. Back to the garden. Closing the circle. Enough about doctors and studies. Let's head back to the garden where we both feel most at home. Because baking soda isn't just a health helper, it's also your garden assistant. Protects roses from fungi. Keeps vegetables crisp when cooking. Freshens compost. Stops algae in the rain barrel. Neutralizes dog mess smell on the fence. One powder, 1,000 uses. Part 6. Baking soda in kitchen and household, the hidden all-rounder. Now that we've seen it in the garden and the home pharmacy, let's take it inside the house. Because baking soda isn't just a plant doctor or health helper, it's also your cleaning ninja. Crisp vegetables, cooking beans or broccoli. Add a pinch of baking soda, the green stays bright like in a food commercial. Easier legumes, soaking lentils or chickpeas. Add baking soda. They'll cook faster and be easier to digest. Your family and your neighbors will thank you. Baking without baking powder. By the way, baking powder is nothing but baking soda plus acid. You can do it yourself and control exactly how fluffy your cake gets. Deodorize fridge and shoes? Classic. Put a small bowl of baking soda in the fridge and onion, cheese, or fish odors vanish. Shoes too, a teaspoon inside overnight, fresh as new in the morning. And don't forget the sink. Instead of pouring a chemical cocktail down the drain, just sprinkle in baking soda, chase it with vinegar, then flush with hot water. Boom. It bubbles, gurgles, and suddenly the drain runs smooth again. Saves nerves, saves money, and your plumbing thanks you too. Conclusion, with a smile. So that was our little journey into the world of white powder. From ants in the pavement to heartburn in your belly, baking soda finds a use everywhere. And sometimes it's not the most expensive pills or exotic herbs that make the difference, but a simple, humble packet from the supermarket. Now it's your turn. Have you ever used baking soda in the garden or for your health? Drop your stories in the comments. I can't wait to hear them. And if you're thinking, that was cool, but I want more plant power, then check out my video on 15 perennial vegetables you only plant once. Please share this video with friends and family so more people can benefit from this knowledge. Your garden, Staudinger says, service. Stay curious, stay wild, and remember, sometimes 1 teaspoon of powder is enough to change the world.